Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream, as this is the first Liverpool game being covered on the channel since the devastating passing of Diogo Jota. It is only right we pay respects to the legacy that he has left behind. He was first seen in England playing in the orange and black of Wolves, where Jota quickly became a fan favourite, scoring plenty of goals to lift the club up into the Premier League. His goal scoring continued in the top flight as Wolves climbed into Europe and reached an FA Cup semi-final. But class and talent like Diogo's would not go unnoticed. Liverpool came calling with Klopp, and with the little magician made his move to Merseyside despite having one of the best front threes in the Premier League ahead of him. With Mane, Firmino and Salah, Jota was able to stamp his mark into the Liverpool side with an important goal in huge matches. Loved and adored Jota made the best impressions on Derby Day, his final ever goal coming in a 1-0 win over the Blues in April of this year. He wore the number 20 when he signed in 2020, and he was a huge part of Liverpool's 20th top division title. And in the famous final lyric that will now be immortalised in the Kop forever and always, his name is Diogo, to be never forgotten and always remembered. At St James's Park tonight, they host a battle which was last played at Wembley in the League Cup final back in March, and the Reds will want revenge. And they already have off the pitch with signing a Newcastle target in Hugo Ekitike, and also probing for a certain Alexander Isak. The Magpies started with a goalless draw at the last weekend at Villa Park, and despite playing against 10 men for just under half an hour, they were not able to get the winning goal. Alanga came close on his debut, but the points were shared at full time. For the Reds, they started with Wembley disappointment with a shootout defeat to Palace in the Community Shield, but came roaring back on the opening weekend to beat Bournemouth with late goals, one in the 88th minute from Federico Chiesa and one in the 94th minute from Mohamed Salah. So, for what could be a spicy fixture up in the northeast, can Eddie Howe get one over Arne Slot once again like he did at Wembley 5 months ago? Like I say, it's not just on the pitch where this can get feisty. It's off the pitch as well. The whole drama with Alexander Isak and his clear desire to leave Newcastle United, and Liverpool have made their presence known in terms of wanting him at their football club. They did make a bid earlier on in the window, well over £100 million, but that was rejected by Newcastle United. He's of course not involved tonight as he is trying to force that move away. Newcastle's stamp on it is quite strong. They don't want him going anywhere, and especially to a Premier League rival like Liverpool. And I think for Liverpool, they love Alexander Isak, but I don't think they'll go too deep into any negotiations if they feel like they're not going to get anywhere. They've of course brought in Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt for £69 million, which was a Newcastle target, that he was going to be Isak's replacement, and Liverpool went and signed him anyway. They've of course already spent £116 million plus add-ons for Florian Wirtz, another £40 million on Kirkes, just under 30 on Frimpong as well, who's not involved tonight. So they've spent plenty of money already, Liverpool, and I just think they're quite calm on the situation. It's if they sign Isak, fantastic, and if they don't, they won the league without him last year, and they've improved on last year. So I don't think they're too stressed about the situation. But for Newcastle, on the other hand, they have every right to be a little bit stressed because they've made signings, but just probably not as many, and probably not exactly who they want. Of course, Ekitike was a big target for them, which Liverpool stole from them, and I quite like the signings they've brought in, if I'm going to be completely honest. They've brought in Malik Chow from AC Milan for £30 million, a German centre-back, 6'4", and he's played for AC Milan for the last couple of years. He's going to find it difficult at the beginning to displace either Fabian Schär or Dan Burn, because them two have been so steady and strong over the last year or so for Newcastle. On the bench, Jacob Ramsey, who they brought in for £43 million from Aston Villa. Premier League proven. Only scored once, though, last season, and that was all the way back in January against West Ham. But we know what he is about, Jacob Ramsey, really exciting young English talent. And one of the only signings they brought in, which starts tonight, is Anthony Elanga, £55 million. So they have spent the money this summer. Newcastle United. Anthony Elanga had a big chance in the first half against Aston Villa, but it was well saved by the goalkeeper. He was brought off in the 78th minute. But there's not too much change in the starting 11 for Newcastle. There's actually only 2 changes from the starting 11 that played against Liverpool in the League Cup final back on the 16th of March. The only difference is Murphy is on the bench and Gordon starts, and of course there's no Alexander Isak involved at all. Other than that, the 9 other players are the exact same, and for Liverpool it's quite the difference. They've made over half the changes from their last starting 11 against Newcastle. Kelleher started in goal, Quansah started at right back, McAllister was in midfield. He's not involved tonight due to his partner apparently giving birth, which of course congratulations to McAllister and his partner. And then of course Diaz is now gone to Bayern Munich, and unfortunately of course the circumstances with Diogo Jota, he did start the League Cup final, so there's been plenty of change in that sense. Of course Ekitike being brought in, Vert starting in the number 10, Kirkez at left back, and we're going to have to see a not so natural right back. There's debate on who is going to start at right back. Whoever does start in that position will more likely invert into midfield to kind of pack out that midfield area. I'm going with Curtis Jones at right back because he's half played that role. I think he did it for England a couple of times, of course inverting, and that's who I think will play there. There's also arguments being made that it might be Dominic Szoboszlai who plays at full back. We'll wait and see. We'll find out. At the minute I'm not too sure, but we will of course find out in a couple of minutes time as both sets of starting 11s are out on the pitch about to shake hands with one another, as we will start with the Newcastle starting 11, who make no changes from their starting 11 last week to Aston Villa, and that means Nick Pope remains in goal, keeping out new signing on loan Aaron Ramsdale. A back four, right back is Kieran Trippier, making his 125th appearance for the club. At left back will be Tino Livramento, who got the assist for the exact goal in that League Cup final back at Wembley in March. And then 2 centre-backs, so Fabian Schär, who scored here last season in the 3-3 draw against Liverpool, and he'll partner alongside Dan Burn, who made his 150th Newcastle appearance last weekend. 3 midfield captain Bruno Guimaraes will play alongside Sandro Tonali and Joe Linton. Then 3 up front. On the right-hand side will be Anthony Elanga. On the left will be Harvey Barnes, searching for his 50th Premier League goal, and leading the line through the middle will be their number 10, Anthony Gordon, who actually started his youth career at Liverpool before leaving to join Everton. And for Liverpool, they make 2 changes, and they are forced from their win last Friday night against Bournemouth. It's Allerton to remain in goal, who made his 300th appearance for Liverpool last weekend. They're back 4 at right back. We think maybe, we'll have to wait and see, Liverpool-born player Curtis Jones. At left back is their new signing from Bournemouth, Milos Kerkez, who scored away at Newcastle for Bournemouth last season back in the middle of January. And the 2 centre-backs of Ibrahima Konate, who's got 1 year left on his contract, and alongside him is the 34-year-old Virgil van Dijk. And then 2 midfielders of Dominic Szoboszlai. He'll partner alongside Ryan Gravenberch, who's making his first appearance of the season as he was serving a ban that he picked up in the last game of last season at home to Crystal Palace. And then in behind the striker in the number 10 position will be their new number 7, and that is Florian Wirtz, who is yet to score for Liverpool but did grab an assist in the Community Shield final against Crystal Palace. On the right will be Mohamed Salah, who if he scores tonight will make him the 4th highest all-time Premier League goal scorer, overtaking Andy Cole altogether. On the left will be Cody Gakpo, who scored the 2nd goal against Bournemouth last weekend, and he also scored his penalty in the shootout against Palace in the Community Shield. And the number 9 leading the line, who is wearing the number 22, it's their £69 million signing of Hugo Ekitike, scored and assisted against Bournemouth in game week 1 and won man of the match. He also scored the opener against Crystal Palace, but he has been subbed off in both of the matches in the 70th minute, so we'll see if he can last the full 90 tonight. But there are the 2 starting 11s as we are about to get underway here at St James's Park. It is the Magpies against the Reds. It looks like it will be Liverpool to kick us off to start this Monday night football in the North East. Tonight's referee is Simon Hooper, the 43-year-old Swindon-born official. He's now 10 years a Premier League referee. Simon Hooper, one of the more trusted referees these days as Curtis Jones gets us underway here at St James's Park. Goes back to Van Dijk, who sends a long diagonal ball out towards Hugo Ekitike. Header won by Dan Burn. Goes over the head of Canate, cleaned up by Van Dijk, who kicks it forward left-footed, and it will roll through to the 18-yard box where it's collected by Nick Pope. And we are underway here on this Monday night, where both teams avoided defeat on the opening weekend. Newcastle with the 0-0 draw, and Liverpool bringing the goals with the 6 altogether, 4-2 against Bournemouth, as it's Elanga on the right wing, tackled there by Gakpo, who gets the ball returned back to him by Kirkez, but he can't get away from Tonali, who can keep it on the far side in the final third. Just Gordon in the box, slots it through though for Elanga, who tries to get it across, and it's well blocked off by Van Dijk. The home fans are up for it early. It's a corner for the home side. We know this is going to be lively with what's been going on with Isak and Liverpool's interest. Not involved tonight at all, as he still tries to force a move away. But for tonight, the talking needs to be done on the pitch, as it looks like it will be an outswinging delivery here from their new signing, Elanga. He was going to float it in towards the middle of the box. It's headed away by Kirkez. Tried to be helped back forward by Trippier. Bit of head tennis going on between the two. Eventually drops to the head of Gakpo, who's been caught high by Joe Linton. Liverpool quickly surround the referee. Van Dijk gets them away, as both captains are now discussing this decision with the referee. Joe Linton pleading his innocence. The referee gives no card. Let's have a look. Yeah, don't get me wrong, Joe Linton's boot isn't really high. He's just going to kick the ball, and Gakpo kind of bends down to get his head to the ball. So I think there's common sense used there by Simon Hooper, just to let it go, give the free kick, and just carry on with the game, as the diagonal switch out to Salah in the final third can't be controlled by the Egyptian, and it's a throw-in the left-back position for Newcastle United with Tino Livramento, who's making appearance number 95 in the Premier League. As here we've got a bit of ref cam going on, just for the quick 5-second cameo. You can see it there on his chest, which will be interesting to see some of the discussions he has with the players if audio is recorded. I'm guessing it is. I'm going to assume they won't broadcast that live, because there'll probably be some not so nice language used throughout the game. As we've got another Newcastle throw-in, there is Eddie Howe, who's only beaten Liverpool twice in his managerial career. Of course, the second time he beat them was in the last meeting in the League Cup final. The other one before that was in December 2016 with Bournemouth at the Vitality. That was in Klopp's early days, as Trippier kicks up in the air midway side the Newcastle half. Free header for Van Dijk, who sends it out towards the right-hand side. Helped on by the header Salah. Can't be collected by Wirtz. It's now Livramento to Tonali on the left-hand side. Driving forward. Wirtz follows him all the way, but he backheels it into Barnes. Good football inside to Livramento. And it goes just in front of the halfway line and the centre circle to Share. Lifts it out to the right-hand side. Can't be controlled by Trippier. Thumbs up for the pass, but the touch wasn't quite good enough, and it's a throw-in in the left-back position for Liverpool, which will be taken by their new signing, Hungarian international Milos Kerkez. Started both of the games for Liverpool competitively against Palace and Bournemouth. Was brought off after an hour against his former club last week after picking up a yellow card within the game as well. 4 minutes in, no chances yet for either side. Does look like it will be Szoboszlai at right back for Liverpool, not Curtis Jones. There's a throw into the way by Trippier. And back forward by Jones. The ball's bouncing and it can be taken over by Wirtz, who tries to lift it in towards Gakpo. Burn comes across and slides it away, but the advantage is pulled back because Wirtz was taken down as he released the ball. Simon Hooper again, the referee, keeping cards in the pockets for now. Just caught late there, Florian Wirtz. Fourth youngest ever player to make his debut in the Bundesliga. He was only 17 years old in 15 days. And he got the 10 Bundesliga goals last campaign with 12 assists alongside that. Just less than 5 minutes in, Trippier the one who caught him. As Wirtz goes to collect one of the footballs just off the pitch. to place down on the halfway line. It's more towards the far side. Van Dijk has got himself forward. And there is Arne Slot, the Liverpool manager. 40th game in charge of a Premier League match. Only lost 4, 3 of them away. As Wirtz tries to float it into the 18-yard box, which he does do, but can't find a red shirt. Ekitike was closest, but was never going to reach it. And it's gone for a Newcastle goal kick. Just less than 5.5 minutes in. No keeper tested yet. Bit scrappy so far. As Newcastle want to try and get their season going. They didn't really have a very successful pre-season. Only won 1 of their 7 games, which was their first one against Carlisle, which you'd expect them to win. But other than that, they were defeated against Celtic and Arsenal and K-League 11 and Atletico as well. In between that, drew with Spurs in South Korea and at home to Espanyol. So they need to get their season rolling as quickly as possible as Alisson kicks it long out towards the Liverpool left, towards Ekitike. Shoved to the ground by Trippier. The referee doesn't see it as a strong enough shove for a free kick. Or does he? I think he does, and it will be a free kick. Yeah. Don't know, a bit of both there, really. No, I think that's a bit soft if that has been given as a free kick. Both were having a good grab at each other there. Trippier and Ekitike. With his blonde, kind of orangey blonde hair, Ekitike. Number 22. So it's about midway side the Newcastle half on the far left-hand side. Wirtz is over it again to deliver it. Newcastle's line is about 10 yards in front of the edge of the box, so they're playing a risky line there. As Dan Burn drops in, but then pushes back out because they've gone short to Kirkes, who will then glide it in towards the far post where there's no red shirt there. Free header for Burn. Well, as far as Gravenberch. It's now with Szoboszlai, who will deliver the ball in towards Canate. It's headed away from him by Joel Linton. Barnes goes up for it, wins the next header. So does Alanga into the feet of Guimaraes, who's trying to battle with Gravenberch. Ball drops loose for Barnes in the centre circle. Tries to go to his right to Gordon. Well cut out by Kirkes, who will not receive the ball from Gravenberch as it's deflected off Guimaraes, and then Gravenberch goes in strong. And the Dutchman will get the first booking of the game, which I think Liverpool fans will find harsh because Newcastle have put in a few strong challenges early on and have avoided yellow cards. Kirkes intercepted, fell to Jones, went to Gravenberch, and then Gravenberch tried to go to Kirkes, and Guimaraes intercepted it off the back of his leg, and then it kind of fell loose, and Guimaraes was always going to get there first. Gravenberch goes through the back of him. And it's a rightly given free kick, and it probably is a yellow card as well, but you could definitely argue Newcastle could have had a yellow card earlier on in the game, even though we're only 8 minutes in. But lively start, as we would expect. But it's now Newcastle's chance to deliver a ball into the 18-yard box. Burn has gone up there, so is Cher as well. It is Trippier the one who will more likely send this in towards the 18-yard box. Kieran Trippier making his 99th Premier League appearance tonight for Newcastle, 206th altogether, including his Tottenham days, as he goes out to the left here to Tonali, who will then cross it in towards Dan Burn, who can't win the header on Van Dijk, and it goes away for a throw-in for Newcastle, right next to the corner flag on the far side. They were always going to aim for Dan Burn then at 6'6". His only ever goal against Liverpool was the first in that League Cup final back in March. As Alanga returns it to Trippier from the throw-in. Can he work the cross? It comes off Wirtz and then back off Trippier. And a goal kick for Liverpool. To the frustration of the home fans, but it's the right decision from the assistant referee. On that far side, as for Eddie Howe, it's his 175th game in charge of Newcastle. Took over back in November of 2021. He got a 52% win rate, but if he does lose tonight, it will be his 50th defeat in charge of the Magpies, as Alisson takes the risk, just about moves it away from Gordon on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's Van Dijk to go long left-footed up towards Wirtz. It's going to be Trippier to head it away, slightly barged by the German, and the referee's given the free kick to the home side, who finished 5th last season, 18 points behind Liverpool, who of course went on and won the Premier League for the second time, and it was their 20th First Division title. And it's a long ball forward for Newcastle, trying to find Harvey Barnes in behind. It can be seen through, though, for a goal kick by Alisson. Just over 10 minutes in, still no real chance at goal. Nick Pope and Alisson untested so far. But I'm expecting goals in this game. 3 meetings last season. The first one was a 3-3 draw here back in the beginning of December. It was a frantic game. Newcastle went 1-0 up, then 1-1. Then they went 2-1 up, then it was 2-2. And then Liverpool took the lead to make it 3-2. And then it was a late equaliser by Fabian Schär in the 90th minute to make it 3-0. And then Liverpool had a pretty comfortable win at Anfield, 2-0. Szoboszlai and McAllister with the goals. Newcastle only managed 3 shots in the entire game. None of them on target. And then the most important meeting, you could say, was that League Cup final. Burned just before the break, heading home to give them a 1-0 lead. Isak in the 52nd minute, and then a late goal back from Chiesa wasn't enough. And Newcastle became the 24th different team to win the League Cup. As Alisson kicks it out of his hands and goes long up towards Gakpo. It's gone beyond him and Trippier. Chested away from Schär by Ekitike. Kicked off the Swiss and out for a throw-in for Liverpool in the final third on that far side once again. The throw-in's going to be left there for Milos Kerkez, who spent just under a year at AC Milan back in the 21-22 season, from February to January, but didn't stick around. Ended up with Bournemouth, where he really made his name, allowing him to make this £40 million move to Liverpool, as he has a long throw in here in towards the 18-yard box, headed away by Byrne, straight back towards Kerkez, who will work across in this time towards Van Dijk, and Byrne again wins the header. There's no surprise there. It does find Gordon on this near side towards his own defensive third. He's got Wirtz chasing him down. He goes over the challenge there, Gordon. He's been caught. And that'll be a free kick for Newcastle, taken quickly by Joe Linton to Livramento. It's now Guimaraes, plenty of time in the middle of the park, and he slips it through for Elanga. He's got pace, but Alisson reads it well out of his 18-yard box to kick it away, because if Elanga had got there, it was a one-on-one opportunity. First kind of real sight of goal for either of the two teams. Couldn't quite get there. It was a good ball from Guimaraes in terms of the idea, but the execution was just a little off, overhit slightly, but Alisson also read it well because he was well off his line to come and kick that ball away from goal. Still 0-0. And it's one back for Liverpool as Tonali's weak in possession. Florian Wirtz out wide left to Ekitike. Through them for Gakpo. Towards the byline, he's shoved away from it by Trippier. The fans love that sort of challenge, and he plays it forward to Elanga. And back to Schär in his own 18-yard box forward, but straight to Ekitike, who finds Wirtz in the corner of the box. Right-footed attempt towards the far corner. Pushed away by Pope. Corner kick for Liverpool. There's the first sighting of goal, and the first time either of the two goalkeepers have been tested and forced into a save. It was a poor clearance from Schär, well played forward by Ekitike to find Wirtz. And the German number 7 still looking for his first Liverpool goal. Didn't quite come that time around, but he made Pope work. It's Van Dijk, Konate and Ekitike having a word on the edge of the 18-yard box in terms of what movements they're going to make. Probably the 3 tallest players for Liverpool. Konate 6'4", Van Dijk 6'5", Ekitike 6'3". Also got Gakpo in there who's 6'4". Plenty of height in this Liverpool side. As it's Wirtz, outswinger at the near post, headed away by Elanga. Or as far as Gravenberg. He's got Szoboszlai to his right, and he'll use the Hungarian, who's been chased down by Elanga. Can switch it out to the left-hand side here to Jones, who will clip it in towards the edge of the area. Chested away by Livramento, straight into his own path. As he skips away from Van Dijk, in a central area here, the full-back. Has to go back to Trippier, then goes forward to Tonali, then back once more to Fabian Schär. He's now in a right-back position with Trippier. Down the line for Guimaraes. Turn away from Gakpo, pulled by the Dutchman. I think it has been seen as a foul by Simon Hooper, and that'll be a free kick for Newcastle. Sandro Tonali in the centre circle. A bit of time on the ball for the Italian. Finds Byrne, then out wide left to Livramento, who finds himself in the Liverpool half. Cuts inside onto his stronger right foot, away from Gravenberch, plays it away from Jones. Quick 1-2 with Guimaraes, and then tackled by Gakpo fairly. Clearance up in the air, controlled well by Elanga. Guimaraes to Trippier, back through for Guimaraes in a right wing position. Into the box it goes, it's cleared by Gravenberch, poor delivery. But the fans are enjoying what they're seeing in the black and white shirts. Throw-in taken quickly by Trippier to Guimaraes on that far side. Starts again, going backwards to Cher, then a first time pass to Burn, who goes back across to his centre-back partner, Cher. Furthest wide is Trippier. He's been found. He lifts it in behind here for Elanga. Van Dijk tries to cover towards the byline. He pulls it across. It's an important touch from Szoboszlai to clear the ball away, and Salah helps it on, but as far as the head of Tonali. Gordon nutmegs Szoboszlai in the area. Takes it away from goal, and then goes down over the challenge of Szoboszlai. And that is a free kick on the edge of the area for Newcastle. No yellow card, but a free kick on the left side of the box. Let's have a look. Gordon knew what he was doing, getting his body across his man and just almost initiating the contact. Clever forward play that from Gordon. But the ball in behind Elanga caused real worry for that Liverpool defence, and eventually they were able to deal with it. This position of the free kick reminds me, I don't know if you remember Toni Kroos in the World Cup back in 2018, I think against Sweden, where he had a little layoff and then just whipped it top right corner. Tonali's on his own though for this one. One-man wall. He powers it near the penalty spot where no one was standing, and it's just gone straight through for a throw-in in Liverpool's left-back position. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying there, Sandro Tonali. He probably took better free kicks than that. The former Serie A winner with AC Milan. So it's a Kirkes throw-in. Gets the ball returned to him by Wirtz, and he just thumps it away up towards the centre circle where Ekitike can beat Cher to the bounce, but he must have shoved or pulled the Swiss centre half, and it's a free kick for Newcastle. Simon Hooper knows he's got to stay in control of this game. Van Dijk's not happy. I think Van Dijk's saying there both sides. It's got to go both ways, and Van Dijk feels like it's not. I think he's lucky to avoid a yellow card there, Van Dijk, just in the aggression he showed towards the referee. But I think because it's Van Dijk and he's captain, I think Simon Hooper just let him off the hook slightly there. Don't want the game to go silly and start handing out yellow cards for everything. So it's Trippier, just in front of the centre circle, in the Liverpool half. The usual suspects have made their way into the penalty area. He goes short though to Guimaraes, who then crosses first time, header away from Ekitike, up towards Salah, comes off the leg of Livramento, and again it's another free kick. It's a shove again from Salah. Salah believing there's no way that should be a foul and a free kick, but that's what Simon Hooper's give. The fourth official having to talk to the Liverpool bench as well. Like I say, you don't want to whistle everything, but of course a foul is a foul at the end of the day. It did feel a little weak, the contact. It didn't seem like there was enough really to give a free kick. Let's have a look. To be fair, he shoved him in the upper back with his shoulder, and he wasn't looking at the ball, Salah. That's the only reason why I think he's give it. He was kind of looking at his man to see where he was, and then kind of led in with the shoulder into his upper back. So I can see where the referee's coming from. It does seem a little soft still. And it's pretty much in the same position, just about 10 yards further forward. It's exactly straight down the middle of the pitch, so not much of an angle for Trippier to work with. But they have been trying little tactical set plays in the game already. Trippier, the only one stood over it. And he puts it in towards Gordon. It goes beyond him and into the gloves of Alisson. In the all-green kit tonight, the Brazilian. Already conceded 4 goals this season. Bit of confusion here. Alisson told to drop the ball by the referee. Gordon went to then chase it, and then Alisson's picked it up. I'm not sure what's been given, maybe an offside, or I'm not sure. It's a free kick for Liverpool anyway. And he kicks it long out towards the Liverpool left, where the header's won by Trippier, not for the first time tonight. Then Gordon glances it on for Joe Linton, who's got options to his left, and he uses Harvey Barnes. Szoboszlai chasing him down. Livramento joining in on the overlap, and he's been fed. And he's in the box. Works the cross in, and it's well collected by Alisson at the near post. Good football from Newcastle. They're looking the better of the two teams early on. Just over 20.5 minutes in. It's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 0. Of course, played on his weaker side. Livramento at left back, currently keeping his spot ahead of Lewis Hall as Kirke slides in. Last touch off the Hungarian. It's a throw-in. It actually bounced off the corner flag and out for a throw-in. Had to time that right, because if Elanga got there ahead of Kirkes, then he's either bringing him down and probably picking up a yellow card, or Elanga's just away and he's got a lot of free green grass to run into. Throw-in taken for Newcastle. Guimaraes on his left side. Forced to go back here to share towards halfway. Now Dan Burn. Back to Pope. Good press in there from Liverpool. Nick Pope sent off in this fixture at St James's Park in a 2-0 defeat back in February 2023, which actually saw him suspended for the League Cup final against Manchester United that season. Livramento down the left side again, about 30 yards from goal. Goes inside to a central area to Gordon. Then out wide right to Trippier, who's joined in. First time cross, it's bobbling through, and it's well held and caught by Alisson, who rolls it into the space here for Wirtz. Elanga chasing him, but he can work it to Ekitike. Gets beyond Cher. Just slowed down there as the touch from the Frenchman was poor, and then he can't find a red shirt. And it's back with Liverpool. It's back with Newcastle, sorry, as Liverpool are struggling to get a foot in this game here. It can be a really nasty atmosphere to try and play football in when the Newcastle fans are up for it. Livramento, first time ball into the space for Barnes. He was caught as he released it. And the referee has given a free kick. Again, not sure if he's got any cards out. Back to his feet though, Tino Livramento. Just 22 years of age, turns 23 in the middle of November. Was part of the England under-21 squad to win the Euros in the summer and has the one England senior cap. It was a full 90 minutes at home to Ireland back in November 2024. A long ball from the free kick for Newcastle. It's bounced through into Alisson. Konate ended up on the deck. Not sure if a free kick's been given there by the referee. Dan Burn was the one involved. Of course, when there's a long ball in the box, you're going to be aiming for a man like Dan Burn. It's in the 18-yard box of Van Dijk, being pressed by Gordon. So Gravenberch to Jones, forward to Gravenberch again, who can be shoved to the ground by Guimaraes, and that's a free kick again given by the referee. It's a very physical game, so there is a lot of free kicks being given, but that was definitely an illegal shove there. And they've gone back into the 18-yard box here with Van Dijk. Szoboszlai sat in between the two centre-backs at the moment. Works it to Alisson. Then to Konate. Got Barnes on his case. Turns back towards the goalkeeper and plays it to Alisson, who kicks it away first time up towards Ekitike, heads it out wide right to Gravenberch. Good forward play there, but the Dutchman's been caught out in possession by Joe Linton towards halfway. And he keeps it on this left side here to Dan Burn. And forward to Barnes. Can't get away from Szoboszlai. Good defending from the former Leipzig midfielder. Having to play it right back tonight for the injured Frimpong, and Conor Bradley is just returning back from injury. Salah plays it inside for Ekitike, still in the Liverpool half, tries to turn and play forward, cut out by Burn, picked up by Gordon, turns away from Konate momentarily, then dragged back by the Frenchman. And that'll be a free kick for Newcastle, and I'd be surprised if this isn't a yellow card, and it will be a yellow card for Ibrahima Konate. Real yank of the shirt there from Konate. Trying to claim that there was an elbow thrown by Gordon, but certainly wasn't. That's the Frenchman's first yellow card of the season. Was yellow carded in the Community Shield final against Crystal Palace. Another former Leipzig player. Trippier's over it again. A lot of these free kicks aren't too wide either way. Trippier's gone quick though in the corner of the box to Gordon. 1-on-1 with Szoboszlai. Plays overlap to his left to Elanga, who can work across into the far post. It's an important header from Van Dijk. Back in the box though. Overhead kick attempt from Guimaraes. Just goes away from him. Cleared by Gakpo. Headed back out wide left by Tinali to Elanga, who's been forced all the way back towards his own half here to Trippier, who works it to Pope, who's made the angle. He's in all blue tonight. Nick Pope. And he's gone for a long kick forward. There's been a run made from Tinali. Byrne can't win the flick on to find him though. Van Dijk wins the header, and it's now with another Dutch player, of Cody Gakpo. Jones lifting it out to the right where it's Salah. Away from Joe Linton as he cuts inside. Then plays it towards Jones. Well cut out and read by Livramento. Skips beyond the challenger Gakpo. Jones following him all the way. Forced to go back. That's fantastic from Tino Livramento. He is seriously an impressive defender. So good at that side of the game, but then also the ball carrying as well and shielding players away from the ball. As Guimaraes pickpockets Wirtz just inside the Newcastle half. It's now Joe Linton. Not many options ahead of him. He has got Barnes making a run in behind on the left. He'll feed it through to the former Leicester man. 1-on-1 with Szoboszlai. We know Barnes wants that on that right foot. He's trying. He's facing backwards and he will go to Livramento. And then into Barnes once more. Still in the final third. Onto the right foot. Allowed to cross it towards Anthony Gordon. It's hit the roof of the net. Big chance. And probably the best of the game so far. Just over 27 minutes in. Newcastle are the ones dictating the rhythm and the aggression of this game. Lovely ball from Barnes. Gordon got up well. Probably just went a little bit too early. And the header was never coming back down in time. But it's really positive. And Liverpool just seemed a little shell-shocked at the moment. As Alisson goes long up towards halfway on the left-hand side. Headed forward by Gakpo. Can't find a Ekitike. It's now with Trippier. Into a central area where it can't find Guimaraes. Then Gravenberch, loose ball. Can't find a Ekitike. And Pope's out to clear. Just on the edge of his box, up towards Gordon. It's controlled by Gordon as he bullies Konate off it. Then a lovely 1-2 with Barnes. It's now the number 11 for Newcastle. Works it to Elanga. On the right-hand side, in the box. Goes towards the byline and puts it towards Gordon. And he can't quite get the contact to get it beyond Alisson. Straight at the Brazilian. Szoboszlai in the way as well. It's an impressive, unintentional touch from Gordon after the long ball forward. And he ended up linking with Barnes, then Elanga, who we know can be so dangerous. He's such an exciting player, Elanga. Sold for just £15 million to Forest from United. As another cross goes in, and it's another header from Gordon. But that time it's well wide of the post. And the main question is, really, can Newcastle keep this up for the majority of the game? Because Liverpool are struggling to know what to do here. Newcastle's last win against Liverpool in the Premier League was at home, and it was a 2-0 win back in December 2015. It was a Martin Skrtel own goal in the 69th minute, then one in the 90th from Wijnaldum. That's when Steve McLaren was in charge of Newcastle United. Yeah, there was no wins in the previous 17 against Liverpool in all competitions for Newcastle. Of course, that changed in the League Cup final earlier on this year. Alisson has it. Been closed down by Barnes, but can Kick it away out to the left again towards Gakpo. He can't quite win the header there. Shoved in the back by Trippier. So it will be a free kick for Liverpool. Just inside their own half on that far side. Just about to hit the 30th minute. And we're still goalless at St James's Park. The last 0-0 we had in this fixture was here. And it was a 0-0, of course, back in December 2020. Van Dijk in the centre circle, playing a simple ball 5 yards to his right to Canate, who played just the 57 minutes in the League Cup final, brought off for tactical reasons. Goes back across to Virgil van Dijk, who scored once here at St James's in a 3-1 win back in July 2020 as Canate lifts it towards nobody. Free header for Burn. Bit of a 50p header though. Straight out of play. Throw in for Liverpool, still in the Newcastle half. It's Alisson in the 18-yard box. First time ball forward into the space in behind the Newcastle defence, but there's too much on it. Straight through for Nick Pope. 33 years of age now. Year left on his deal as well for Nick Pope. 10 England caps as well. And he's keeping out another England international for now with Aaron Ramsdale, who's brought in on loan. As Tonali takes it away from Canate on the halfway line. The Italian bursts away. He's just got Alisson in front of him. Van Dijk is coming across. He plays it across himself towards Elanga, and it's Alisson out there to grab. Canate caught out. And he's been saved by his goalkeeper. And Liverpool to turn defence into attack as they go beyond the halfway line. Down their left-hand side. It's now with Gakpo running at Trippier into the final third. On the outside, trying to put a ball across. Deflects to Jones, who keeps it alive. He's now the furthest wide left for Liverpool. Finds Wirtz in the corner of the box, keeping it away from Joe Linton. Ekitike takes over. Jones again on the edge of the area. Ekitike tries to go out wide towards Gakpo. It goes behind him. And it's a throw-in for Liverpool. Just miscontrolled the ball there, Canate. And if it was like an Elanga or a Gordon, that move probably ends in a shot. Tonali just didn't quite have the pace to burst away. Trippier with the throw-in. Just towards the defensive third here for Newcastle. Taking his time with the throw-in. He'll throw it down the line towards Elanga, who can nod it inside himself but only find Curtis Jones. Gravenberch has it in the centre circle. No press on him at the moment as he works it to Jones. Gravenberch playing his first minutes competitively since the final day of last season when he was sent off against Crystal Palace. But in the 49 games he appeared in last season in all competitions, Gravenberch, he started all 49. This is what Liverpool need, just to slow the game down, just almost take out the animosity in the ground with just some calm passing. Does allow Newcastle to also get their breath back a little bit. Kirk has it left back on halfway. Van Dijk forward to Jones, then back into Virgil van Dijk. Signed a 2-year extension in April of this year as it's in between the lines for Wirtz, well found by Gravenberch. Salah's isolated with Livramento on the right-hand side. Goes to Szoboszlai just behind him, who will clip it to the far post here, looking for Gakpo. It's too heavy. And it's out for another throw-in. Arne Slot trying to keep his team motivated despite it not going their way. Doesn't look exactly too natural in that right-back position, Szoboszlai, which is understandable, as he is, of course, naturally more of a central midfielder. As the ball's won back from the throw-in, Gravenberch's touch works its way to Jones, who then goes back to Gakpo. Jones was caught. Referee says no. Gravenberch, 25 yards out, thought about the shot. Will take the shot on, and it's into the back of the net. First game back, and he is back with a bang. Completely catches out Nick Pope and stuns St James's Park into silence. And it's completely against the run of play. Newcastle have been much the better side, but the only stat that matters is who scored the most goals, and at the moment it's Liverpool with just the one. Through the legs of Guimaraes, maybe a slight nick off Share, not entirely sure. Could be. And then it nicks off the inside of the post and in. Nick Pope, flat-footed. Does it take a nick? I think it might do. Oh, it's the slightest touch from Share and it can't quite divert it onto the other side of the post. It's gone on the inside instead, into the back of the net. And that's what champions do. When they're not at their best, they still find a way. And they have through Ryan Gravenberch. And with his first appearance of the new season, he brings a very vital goal for Liverpool at St James's Park. It's Liverpool with the lead. Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Out of nowhere as well. Looked like he was going to take the shot on a second or two before, but slightly hesitated and then just went for it, the Dutchman. Just his 5th Liverpool goal of his career, his 2nd away from home. His other away goal came at Craven Cottage. Not last season, but during his first season at the club. And Newcastle will be kicking themselves of not being able to take any of their earlier chances in the game. 36.5 minutes in. And Newcastle have got the work to do. Alisson with a poor ball forward towards Salah. Burns, kick forward, can't find Tonali. It's now Kanate. He's facing towards his own goal and will work it to Alisson. Sprays it towards the left-hand side, towards Gakpo. Does head it on down the line. Alanga's there to try and clean up, and he will do. Pokes it back towards his goalkeeper. It's an awkward one to deal with. He's outside of his area, and he can just kick it into the stands for a throw-in. Never seems quite confident when he has to deal with those sort of balls back towards his own goal there, Nick Pope. Who knows, if he doesn't perform, his spot can be taken quite easily by Aaron Ramsdale. Jones in the centre circle, finding Wirtz. Liverpool just finding more time on the ball now when they're knocking it around. Burn with another interception on Salah. So Bosley volleys away up towards Wirtz. Header won by Share in the centre circle. It's chested down by Guimaraes, who can keep it away from Wirtz for now and can find the ball in behind towards Alanga. It's too much on it, and even for his speed, that's too much. And it goes through to Alisson in the Liverpool goal. Didn't win any of their final 4 games as champions of last season. Liverpool, as Wirtz, misplaced ball. Tonali in the area. Kicks it off Van Dijk as he was looking for Gordon. Does deflect out wide right here to Alanga, who's one-on-one with Kirkes. Onto the right foot, the cross goes in, and it's headed behind by Szoboszlai. Gordon was lurking, but Liverpool's number 8 can head behind. Seems to have grown his hair out over the last couple of months. Dominic Szoboszlai with the headband on, same as Anthony Gordon. Looks like it's going to be a right-footed in-swinger here from Trippier, who we know can cross a good ball. Here's Ref Cam again, having a word with Salah, who stood alongside Dan Burn. Bit of a mismatch there from the corner. It's one of the ways they scored in the League Cup final, though, Newcastle. A Dan Burn header from a corner. Can they repeat the act? Far post it goes towards Burn, who wins that header on Szoboszlai in the end, and it's wide of the post, and it's a goal kick for the Reds. Just less than 6 minutes of the first half to play, and Liverpool have the lead. It was Gakpo who played it inside to Gravenberch, who faked the first shot and then just went for it about 25 yards out or so. The referee was right behind it, had a perfect view. Simon Hooper. And of course, there was nothing wrong with it. And a fairly given goal was rewarded. As we're back with the action here. It's Jones on the halfway line. Bit of nice footwork to keep it away from Alanga. Forward to Wirtz, just towards the left-hand side. He's bullied to the ground by Trippier, into the path of Joe Linton. Then forward to Gordon, who controls well. Then fires it out to the left to Barnes, but again, too much on it. Throwing for Liverpool. He's frustrated with himself there, Anthony Gordon, who started by coming through at Liverpool, and he has been a long-term target for the club to bring him back, but nothing's ever quite materialised. He actually missed the League Cup final last season, Anthony Gordon, after his red card here in the FA Cup against Brighton. Remember for that outburst, he had a bit of an elbow swung. Szoboszlai right back, just gets it away as he got the return ball from the throw-in from Wirtz. Header won by Byrne, but straight to Salah on the halfway line. It's now with Wirtz, who drifted to the right side this time around. Wirtz facing his own goal, and he works it back to Szoboszlai, then on once more to Konate. No press on him at the moment. Joe Linton starting to make his way, which then forces him back to Alisson. Came over to Europe back in 2016 with that move to Roma. £66.9 million was spent on him to bring him to Merseyside. And he kicks it long, again towards Gakpo on the left. Over the head of Trippier, then controlled by Gakpo. Drives inside, he's got Jones to his right, close by. He bursts away from him and then works it to Salah. First time ball towards Jones, who misses it, and then it's away from Ekitike. Silky, smooth move from Liverpool. Started from that error from Trippier, trying to win the header, and he misjudged it. And Gakpo was away, straight to Salah, who in the box just first time crossed it. And he's frustrated that Jones wasn't able to take it on with the volley. Missed it completely, and then Ekitike was too late to react. And it rolled behind for a goal kick for Newcastle. Big kick from Pope up towards Trippier. Header won by Kirkes. It's throwing just inside the Liverpool half for the Magpies. It's now with Byrne at left centre-back. Swinging it out to the left-hand side to Barnes. Then forward once more to Livramento. Barnes is on his bike. Livramento has to go into the central midfield position with the pass to Joe Linton. Then Tonali back out wide to Barnes. Again having to deal with Szoboszlai. Left-footed cross goes in. Took no nick off the Hungarian. And that'll be a goal kick for Liverpool. He's struggling against Szoboszlai. Harvey Barnes, which might force Eddie Howe to make a change or two. They have got Jacob Murphy on the bench, who had an unbelievable season for Newcastle. He has been at the club since 2017, but last season he just took off in terms of numbers. He scored 8 goals in the Premier League and picked up 12 assists. So it might be seen to be quite harsh that he's now been dropped for Elanga, because he certainly brought in the numbers last campaign. It's from the Liverpool goal kick. It's already been won back for Newcastle. It's Pope with it. Clips it towards Livramento at left back. A lifted ball into the middle. It's hard to deal with for Joe Linton. He's been dispossessed by Wirtz. And his pass just goes behind Jones. And now it's for Guimaraes to drive away with the ball. He's going to go for a pass out to the left to Barnes, who can control it out wide. Runs away from the Liverpool goal and then faces forward and then into the underlap of Livramento, who's got Jones trying to win it back, and that's exactly what he does. Jones at right back with the left-footed clearance up towards halfway. Headed forward by Cher, but straight to Salah. Ekitike to Salah, who has been caught by Byrne. Free kick and a yellow card on that near side. One man of the match in the League Cup final, Dan Byrne, but this time he's in the book. Was not going to let Salah go there. He had 2 nibbles at him as well. That's a high one, the first one as well. So Byrne with the yellow card. Free kick taken by Kanate to Szoboszlai. Kanate once more having to go to Alisson as the press is being ignited by Gordon. It's now Van Dijk. Gordon still chasing it down and catching Van Dijk very late. Van Dijk won't like that one. Yellow card's out. Kirkez is the one defending his captain. And this is where the tempers start to flare. Gordon was on a mad press there, sprinting like a madman. And he went in with a sliding challenge as Van Dijk was going to clear it. The ball had well gone and Gordon certainly caught his man, the former Toffee. He was never getting there. It's a late challenge. Oh, and he scrapes down the back of Van Dijk's leg. Can be nasty them ones down the Achilles. Van Dijk rather calm. VAR are having a look. Serious foul play. It's where the studs first create the contact for me. It's quite high. And Simon Hooper is being told to go and have a look at this on the monitor. VAR tonight is John Brooks. He's assisted by Stephen Meredith. Now this could change the game. Liverpool already a goal up, despite Liverpool being the team struggling the most. But now they've gone a goal up and they could be a man up as well. It's just reckless and stupid from Anthony Gordon. Do I think it's a red? I don't know. He yanks the sock with his stud because Van Dijk's sock comes right down to his shins with the shin pad showing. It's just that first initial top of the stud. It does catch him rather high. Do I think that's a red card? I think that could be a bit soft. I don't know. So the referee's had a look. And this is where they now communicate to the stadium. I've got my TV on mute, so I don't know what he's saying. But I'm sure we'll see what he's about to do. He's reviewed it. And he's given a massive explanation that I can't hear, unfortunately. And the yellow card has been swapped over for a red. And what started as a really positive first half for Newcastle could not have gone more wrong in the last 15 minutes. Going a goal down and now a man down. Gordon, I think, just tried to reignite the crowd back into the game. It had just gone a little bit stale, the atmosphere, because Liverpool had obviously scored and they'd just started to get a bit of a hold in the game, passing it around a bit more calmer with not as much pressure. So then Gordon's tried to kind of get that press and that aggressive style back, and he's just overplayed it with the aggression. And when you go in like that so hard, so quick, with the studs catching the back of Van Dijk's leg like that, you're running the risk of a red card. And after a review, that is exactly what the referees decided to give. I think when you slow it down, I think genuinely when you slow it down, it doesn't look as bad. When it's full speed, that's when it looks really bad and you think, oh, you can't be doing that. So after quite a lot of replays, I probably do think the referee has made the right decision. I didn't want the red card because it just kind of spoils the game a little bit, but at the end of the day, you can't think like that as a referee. A red card's a red card. If it spoils the game or not, you can't let Anthony Gordon get away with a challenge like that. And off he goes. And it's becoming a little bit of an issue, this, for Anthony Gordon. That's his third red card in Newcastle's shirt. He was sent off last season in the FA Cup against Brighton, which pretty much got them knocked out of that competition, and then he missed the League Cup final. Needs to get that out of his game, these silly, hot-headed moments. So 2 minutes were added on. We're into the 50th minute of the half. I'm not sure how long we've got left to play, if I'm going to be completely honest, but Liverpool goal up through Ryan Gravenberch and a man up through a silly, just heat of the moment from Anthony Gordon. And it almost makes it mission impossible now for the Magpies, who were looking to win their first game of the season after drawing 0-0 last weekend to Villa. It's Canate, midway inside his own half, finds the central pass here to Szoboszlai. Got to make use of that extra player now, the Reds. Ticking over the 50th minute. Still playing here at St James's Park. Jones towards the left-hand side, finds Gakpo on halfway. Szoboszlai just really slowing it down here, Arne Slot's side. Probably the right thing to do. Play the pace at their game. Play the game at their pace, sorry. Kerkez just in front of the halfway line. Back inside to his Hungarian teammate, Szoboszlai, who lifts it out towards the right-hand side here to Salah. Controls well. 1-on-1 with Livramento in the box. Tries to find the ball to Wirtz. Deflects off Joe Linton. Cleared by Byrne. And Simon Hooper whistles for half-time. And that is not how I thought the first half would end. Newcastle were brilliant in the first half an hour, causing Liverpool so many issues, making them completely shell-shocked visiting this ground once more. And despite not winning a Premier League game against Liverpool since December 2015, that wait might have to continue, because in the 35th minute, against the run of play, it was just as Liverpool was starting to grow into the game a little bit. They'd just had a couple of minutes of possession, having the ball and having time on the ball, and from around 25 yards out, Gakpo went inside to Gravenberch, who thought about the shot the first time, but then the second time, once he'd got it out of his feet, he drilled it low, it took a slight nick off Schär, off the inside of the post and into the bottom left corner, which gave Liverpool a surprise goal, and it only got better from there. 3 minutes into added on time, Anthony Gordon was chasing down Van Dijk. He's gone in with the sliding challenge with his studs up down the back of the Achilles. Referee originally gave a yellow, but after a VAR check, he could only ever give him a red card. And despite such a positive first half for Newcastle, it is ended in the most nightmare way. It is at half-time. Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Gravenberch with the goal and Gordon with the red card. Just can't write stuff like that at all. It is just so... It feels very Newcastle like that. To have such a good first half an hour and not score. And then think... You know, we've got a Liverpool against the ropes here. They're not quite looking like the usual Liverpool. And then to concede a goal the way they did, you know, against the run of play, a very well-taken Gravenberch goal, you can't really do too much against it. And then to kind of allow Liverpool back in the game from then, letting them have more of the ball. And again, to me, it just seemed like Gordon was just trying to get the crowd going once more, you know, going for that aggressive press. He was charging every player on the ball, like I say, like a man possessed, and then his brain just went the complete wrong way. Instead of being, you know, he just lost his head. He should know there's literally probably a minute left before half time. Just let Van Dijk clear the ball. You don't have to get there. You don't have to make contact with the ball. You know, you probably realise you won't get the ball. You know, just run past him, maybe give him a bit of a nudge. Don't need to slide in like that when you know you're more than likely not going to end up winning the ball. And like I said, just reading here on Twitter, Guy Mowbray, a commentator on Match Today, just a daft challenge, adrenaline fueled. Exactly how it looked. It looked like Anthony Gordon just found himself a bit of adrenaline out of nothing. Maybe the crowd were making a bit of noise to try and get Newcastle pressing again. He took that on, and then he took it on a bit too much and put a really dangerous challenge on Virgil van Dijk and gets himself sent off right before the break as well. A strange one. And after the first half an hour, you'd be thinking it's Newcastle that would be going in 1-0 up at half-time. But nope, it's Liverpool who are 1-0 up. Gravenberch with a goal out of nowhere in the 35th minute. And then, of course, the red card, which has completely changed the trajectory of this game. Let's see how Newcastle set up now in the second half. Will they make changes? What changes can they make after losing their striker? And he's only been a makeshift striker as well, because of course Isak has gone AWOL, trying to force a move to Liverpool. And now Gordon's got a straight red, so that'll be him missing 3 games, I believe. And they haven't really got an out-and-out striker. Technically, William Asula, the Danish forward on their bench, came through kind of his youth football as a striker. Under Eddie Howe, he's been more used as a wide player. So he could be an option to play up front, but again, not really been used there during his time at Newcastle since joining last summer from Sheffield United for £15 million. Of course, they've got Murphy and they've got Jacob Ramsey as well, but we know he's not a striker, he's just more of an attacking midfielder. It will certainly be it's going to be an interesting watch, the second half, for sure. Hopefully it doesn't just go down the road of Liverpool just dominating the ball and possession for the entire half and go on and win 3-0. Let's hope there's a little bit more drama involved. But it'll be difficult for Newcastle. The only positive they've got is the fact that they're at home. Maybe that might find them a way to nick an equaliser on the counter-attack, possibly. Not too sure. We'll wait and see. But at half-time, it is 1-0 to Liverpool. I'm going to quickly take a quick break. I'll be about 5 or 10 minutes, but I will be back before the second half. So don't go anywhere. If you do go, make sure you come back in around 5 or 10 minutes. Just kind of a quick break. Get myself ready for the second half. But at the moment, at half-time, at St James's Park, it's Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. Oh, we're back for the second half at St James's Park as it is Newcastle 0, Liverpool 1. The first half an hour dominated by the home side, and that quickly changed after the Gravenberch goal on minute 35. And then Gordon sent off right before the break as we are back underway. Literally just kicked off, and Liverpool have already won the ball back from the Newcastle kick-off, and Liverpool are kicking right to left towards their away fans up in the heavens. Ekitike releases to Gakpo, edge of the area, right-footed, blocked by Cher, lays it off, Ekitike off the post, and it's a quick goal after the break for Liverpool. He's now scored in his first 3 competitive games in a row for the club. A man heavily linked to Newcastle, but decided to join the Reds instead. Nightmare start for Newcastle. They already knew it was going to be an uphill battle, but that hill has just got so much bigger. Ekitike running through the middle, keeping the ball away from Tonali, who then found Gakpo, who had the shot blocked, and then it fell back to Gakpo, who then just laid it off to his right to Ekitike. Right foot, side foot, off the inside of the post, just like Gravenberch's in the first half and in. Pope did go for that one, but was never going to get anywhere near it. And right after the half-time break, it is Newcastle 0, Liverpool 2. And Arne Slot didn't even see the goal. Returning late. Not sure why he was returning late. We'll keep that to the knowledge of Arne Slot. And Guimaraes has been booked, I think maybe for what he said to the referee. But it's so poor from Newcastle to lose it so quickly from their own kick-off. Guimaraes there playing it through for Barnes, who looked like he was pushed off the ball by Canate. A little bit soft. Referee didn't see it, and then Guimaraes should just give him his peace of mind. And the referee didn't like it. Pretty simple yellow card for the referee to give there. Bruno Guimaraes not happy at all, the Newcastle captain. And it is just now going to be frustration for Newcastle, because this game has got away from them rather quickly. And they're now 2 down. Ekitike, goal and an assist last weekend. A goal this weekend. And a goal the weekend before against Palace in the Community Shield. Newcastle put a £70 million bid in for this man in mid-July. And he was also a target for them all the way back in January 2022. And now he comes back to haunt them as Gakpo tries to cut inside. Tripped by Trippier. Free kick for Liverpool. Tonali not happy with Ekitike. And they just need to relax here, Newcastle. Because they don't want this to turn ugly. They don't want more red cards and they don't want more goals conceded. But that could be the way this game is turning if they don't keep their heads. Of course, all of what Eddie Howe's just said at half-time doesn't really have much meaning anymore after conceding so quickly. 3.5 minutes into the second half, it's still Newcastle 0, Liverpool 2. Goals from Gravenberch and Ekitike. It's going to be Wirtz on from this near side, putting it to the corner of the box on the right-hand side. Van Dijk heads it into the middle. Headed away, though, by Bernal as far as Szoboszlai. Now Gravenberch on the far side for Liverpool. 5-yard pass here to Salah. Returns it to Gravenberch. Szoboszlai. No real press at all here from Newcastle, who were pressing in a 4-4-1. Elanga at the top of it. Barnes on the left. Joelinton almost as a right winger. And Guimaraes and Tonali in the middle. Wirtz on the near side. Goes back here into Jones. It's now Gravenberch in the centre circle. Firing it to his right to Canate. Forward to Szoboszlai. Salah into Szoboszlai once more. Low ball goes into the middle. And Cher can clear. Wirtz just late on the scene. And it looks like this could get heavy this scoreline for sure. This would be Liverpool's 95th victory in the fixture. It's their 191st meeting in all competitions. Yeah, first meeting all the way back in November 1893 when Liverpool won 5-1 at home. Not saying it'll be 5-1 tonight, but might not be far off. Kirket's in the left-back position for Liverpool. It's now with Jones. Plenty of time on the ball. Finds Gravenberch, who spent 4 years coming through Ajax before his 1 year stint at Bayern Munich. Sold to Liverpool for £34 million, just over £34 million. Gakpo. Fancying his chances against Trippier possibly. No, tries to lift it into the run of Kirkes. Header won by Tonali. Flicked back out wide by Wirtz. Headed inside by Gakpo to Gravenberch. It's now Virgil van Dijk. Working it to the right-hand side this time to Szoboszlai. Salah. Ekitike back into Szoboszlai. It's now free-flowing football from Slot's side until Szoboszlai tries to switch, which goes behind Gakpo. And it's a throw-in for Newcastle. Ball over the top for Newcastle. Alisson out of the box to kick it away up towards Ekitike. Header won though by Cher. And it finds Trippier at right back. Forward to Elanga. It'll be dealt with by Kirkes. Jones tries to go into the middle to Gravenberch. Risky ball. But he can get out of trouble with a brilliant pass away from Guimaraes to Konate. Just slightly behind Szoboszlai, but he can keep the ball and the move shifting forward. Salah running at Livramento. Just inside the box. Finds Ekitike. He's got his back to goal for now. Works it to Wirtz. Returns it to Ekitike. Not a load of room in that area, and Guimaraes can come in and take the ball away from him. Livramento was bringing the ball forward, but the play's been brought back as Tonali was fouled off the ball there by Ekitike, who seems to be stirring the pot in that Newcastle team. Tonali's having a push at him, so is Joe Linton. They are parts of the Newcastle ownership. PIF, Public Investment Fund, took over back in October 2021. Tonali just holding his shoulder, his left shoulder, after that little push from Ekitike. Clearly feeling some discomfort here, Sandro Tonali. It could even be his shoulders popped out. He's one of the players as well who's probably one of the more emotional players at the moment, Sandro Tonali. Seems to be really worked up with the result and the way the game's gone, which is completely understandable. So there's a pause in the game. And Liverpool are 2-0 up. Gordon without challenge on Van Dijk. It gets worse the more you see it. And you can see the stud marks starting right towards the top of the back of the leg. And it just work its way down towards, the back of the leg. To the bottom of it. Right down the calf towards the Achilles. So a potential change might be needed here for Newcastle. Sandro Tonali still struggling here with his left shoulder. Had his ban in return from it back in August of last year. Scored 4 goals in the Premier League last season and they all came in victories. He even scored a brace in the League Cup. Yeah, a bit of a yank of the shoulder and then a shove by Ekitike. Didn't seem like anything too malicious. So he's just going off to the side here. Sandro Tonali. Doesn't look like there's going to be any change at the moment. But they're going to obviously assess him further just on the sidelines for now. So 10 minutes into the second half. Still 2-0 to Liverpool as Pope sends it forward towards the final third for Newcastle. Header won by Canate. Throwing for Newcastle about midway inside the Liverpool half. Livramento with the ball in his hands. Waiting for a little bit of movement here to make the throw. Throws it down the line towards Joe Linton. Header won by Gravenberch. And it's another throw in for Newcastle, this time in the final third as Sandro Tonali has been waved back onto the pitch. They do have options on the bench if they want to replace him, like Lewis Miley, Joe Willock returning from an ankle injury he picked up in pre-season. New signing Jacob Ramsey as well. It's going to be a long throw in this one towards the near post where Burns there, so is Joe Linton. And there'll be Livramento to throw it in towards Joe Linton. Header won by Gravenberch, straight back to Livramento, who can get it back in the box with the cross towards Guimaraes with the header. And the home side are back in it. And that's what captains do. Drag your team up from the dirt and guide them towards the light at the end of this very long Newcastle tunnel if they want to try and get something from this game. But that's a start. And the goal started with that long throw, which went straight back to Livramento off the head of Gravenberch. Szoboszlai didn't get out quick enough to him. And Livramento just curled across him with his right foot towards the far post. Felt like it was in the air for an age. And Guimaraes was able to beat Kerkez to the header, who'd never even tried to jump. He just tried to almost nudge himself into Guimaraes to maybe knock him off balance to not get the exact jump he needed. But he was able to shrug off any sort of Kerkez pressure, get up the highest, nod it beyond Alisson into the bottom right corner, and we could potentially have a game on our hands. It's Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. This game's not over. Bruno Guimaraes with his first goal of the season. It's his first league goal since a home strike here back in the middle of May against Chelsea. He started every league game last season as well, the captain. Rio born. Just the one goal for his country against Bolivia back in March 2022. And he scored his 23rd ever Newcastle goal since joining here in January 2022. Just don't know what Kerkez is doing. Just jump for it. I don't know why he's trying to almost like lean into Guimaraes to obviously put him off his jump. And it's guided away from Alisson. So another game for Liverpool. And another game without a clean sheet. Got the most clean sheets last season with 14. 6 at home and 8 away. Conceded 25 away from home last season. In the Premier League. And again, Livramento assisting against Liverpool. He assisted against them last season in the League Cup final for Isak's goal. And Alisson got some strong contact to it, but couldn't push it out of the goal. Just pushed it into the goal. Bruno Guimaraes gets his first goal against Liverpool in his 7th meeting against the Reds. And it just sparks life back into this game. Salah through towards Ekitike, touches it in for Wirtz, whose touch is heavy, and it's now with Guimaraes forward to Harvey Barnes in the central area, works himself out towards the right-hand side. Jones is chasing him, he plays it into space here, where it'll be Tonali to chase, and it's kicked by Van Dijk off the Italian, and it will be thrown for Liverpool in a left-back position. As again, it just gets the fans back in the game for Newcastle, as there's just over half an hour left to play. One of the last 9 seasons for Liverpool they've finished outside the top 4, and that was in the 22-23 season. Finished 5th that campaign. And it was Newcastle who finished 4th that campaign, finishing 4 points above Liverpool to get them Champions League football. And for time wasting potentially, he's not going to book him. But the referee just having a quick word there with Kirkes, who of course will be taking his time, wanting to slow the game down as much as possible. Kirkes gets it back. Tonali's gone down, holding his face after a bit of contact with Wirtz. Livramento heads the clearance away. Joe Linton will give chase to the loose ball. It's Canate to win the first contact, but he heads it straight out of play for a throw-in, which is taken by Joe Linton. But the ref stopped play as Tonali stayed down. And it's a little bit frustrating for Newcastle because they could have got away there. See what VAR makes of this one. So Wirtz just caught Tonali in his face with his right arm. He was just putting the arm out for a bit of leverage. I say a bit of leverage. He definitely knew Tonali was behind him because the Italian just kind of gave him a bit of a shove in the back. Don't think there's too much in that really. Just your normal football collision. It happens. Let's get on with the game. Still 2-1 to Liverpool after Newcastle got one back. So we will get, I think, a drop ball, or they're just going to retake the throw in here, Newcastle. Let's see what the referee decides to do. It's going to be a retake and throw in about midway inside the Liverpool half on the Newcastle far side here, with Livramento again with the ball. And he throws it towards Joe Linton, who heads it up in the air into the box. Headed away by Canate to the right back position, where it's a missed swing by Gravenberch. And shielded behind for a throw for Newcastle next to the corner flag. Joe Linton getting that corner of the ground well and truly up for this second half, because they'll need their fans if they want to try and nick a point from this game. Being 2 down and a man down as well, it would be some result for the Magpies. Going to be another long throw-in, just exactly where it caused the first Newcastle goal, and it goes towards Burn. It avoids him, headed in the air by Van Dijk, and then across by Burn, and well held by Alisson, but it had already gone out. Corner kick for Newcastle. The touch off Van Dijk did go behind. Burn tried to keep it in, and thankfully for Newcastle, it is a corner because Burn headed it straight into Alisson's hands. Trippier stood over it. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger. On his 125th Newcastle appearance. He curls it in towards goal, and it's nearly caught out. Alisson, ball's in the air, and he gets a second punch to it. Further away from goal. It's going to be kept alive here by Burn, who hooks it back in over his head. Joe Linton with the header, and he can't quite get it towards goal. Cleared for Liverpool. It's going to be kept in by Trippier. Down the line to Joe Linton. He's going to be met here by Canate, who does get a poke towards it, and then Ekitike kicks it into the crowd. And it's going to be a throw-in for Newcastle. It's going to go long again. Guimaraes on the goalkeeper. And it almost forced him to lose concentration there, to not get that away from goal. Trippier looking for his first goal since February of 2024, when Newcastle drew 4-4 to Luton at home. And of course, we're going to get another long throw in here from Livramento. Simon Hooper just having a word here with Gravenberch and Canate, Burn, Joe Linton. It's all getting very physical, as you'd expect. And it has been all night. It's worked once. There's no reason why it can't work a second time. Livramento with the throw towards Burn, glanced on, cleared straight to the feet of Szoboszlai, who's going to kick it forward towards Salah, cleaned up by Trippier, helped back forward by Tonali, and volleyed out of play by Gakpo. Cher asking for a penalty. Slight grab of the shirt from Gakpo. Just don't think there's quite enough in it for me Does have a point though, Cher. And Newcastle are going to make a change. Don't know if they're going to make it now or after the throw-in. 25 minutes to go. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. Gordon sent off before the break. And at the break, it was 1-0 and we're already on 2-1. And Sandro Tonali can't take any further part. He was struggling with his shoulder. And also looks like he might be having a problem with maybe the groin. And he's replaced by Lewis Miley, who's been picked over Willock, who is just returning from an ankle injury they picked up in pre-season, and maybe Jacob Ramsey's not quite had enough training sessions yet to be trusted in the Newcastle system. So Lewis Miley's in for his 48th senior appearance. Off the bench for a second game in the row. Livramento throws it in towards the box. It's Kirkez who needs to clear it, but he's been spun by Cher. Not once, but twice, and a third time. And eventually the ball goes across and it's cleared by Szoboszlai. Back in from the header from Livramento, sliced away by Van Dijk. And you'd think it was Liverpool with 10 men. This is brilliant reaction from Newcastle. Trippier, big kick down the right-hand side, and it's not been able to curl back in. Throw-in for Liverpool midway inside their own half. About a quarter of the game left to go. From that throw-in, Joe Linton ended up on the deck. Byrne won the first contact. Then Cher with a lightning quick ball across. And Szoboszlai, right place, right time to get rid. And this is the sort of mentality that Eddie Howe's instilled into this Newcastle side. To just never give up. At all. Guimaraes battling through plenty of Liverpool bodies. And eventually it's Gravenberch to tackle and then Ekitike. Can't keep it in play. The touch is heavy. And for Liverpool, they'll be biting their nails. It's a 6-hour round trip altogether. And after this, they welcome Arsenal to Anfield before the international break. And Arsenal will be without Bukayo Saka, who looks to be out for up to 4 weeks. It's Byrne with a cruncher on Florian Wirtz in the final third in the Liverpool right wing position. And he concedes the throw-in. Liverpool ball. Starting again at halfway. Konate. Van Dijk. Forward to the halfway line to Gravenberch, who's allowed to turn and play forward. The referee almost got in the way, but he didn't. It's now a Salah on the right wing. Szoboszlai overlaps him, can't find him. Does deflect off Newcastle player to Salah. It just restarts for Konate. Jones in front of the centre circle in the Newcastle half. Works it to the left now to Kirkez. Gakpo onto his right foot, delivers to the far post, and it can be left to go behind. Salah didn't attack it. He applauds the idea, the Egyptian. Arne Slot needs to make sure his players keep their concentration here. So goal kick, which will be taken here by Nick Pope. Kept 8 clean sheets last season in the Premier League. He was injured between December and January, Nick Pope. Missed the League Cup quarter-final and the semi-final legs, but was fit enough to return for the final against Liverpool. Jones going back here into Alisson. As Liverpool regain possession. Unbeaten against Newcastle. Alisson, 12 previous meetings, 0 defeats. As he was on the bench for that League Cup final. Kelleher was the one who started. Alisson on the ball in the 18-yard area. Forward to Jones. Just about keeps it away from the press of Miley. It's with the left centre-back of Van Dijk. Just over 20 minutes of the 92 play. Kirk has a left-back. Forward to Wirtz. Out to the right it goes to Szoboszlai. Beyond the halfway line. Driving forward. Salah to his right and he uses him. He's going to run at Livramento. Cut onto the left foot. Deliver to the far post towards Gakpo. Who can't quite keep it alive. And it goes for a Newcastle goal kick. Quite happening for Liverpool at the moment. It's a difficult place to come to. Newcastle won 12 of their 19 home matches last season in the Premier League. Won 6 in a row from the 23rd of February to the 11th of May before losing their final home game of the season to Everton on the final day. Alcaraz with the goal for the Toffees. Big kick from Pope, looking for Elanga. Header won though by Van Dijk. Ekitike the back heel, comes off the legs of Cher, throwing exactly on the halfway line for Liverpool on this near side. And it will be taken by Milos Kerkez. Just 21 years of age, the new signing. Spent plenty of money this season, Liverpool. 289 million altogether. Selling up to £170 million worth of players. Likes of Diaz to Bayern, Nunez to Al Hilal, Quansah to Leverkusen, Kelleher to Brentford, Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid. Got a bit of a fee for him, as they wanted him for the Club World Cup. Morton to Lyon as well. Phillips to West Brom. So they have brought in plenty of cash as well during the window. The first window that Arne Slot's really been able to spend money. Did bring in Chiesa though last year for a fee of £10 million plus £2.5 million on add-ons. And Liverpool are just trying to suck any momentum out of this Newcastle team. Just passing the ball around. Szoboszlai at right back. Salah. Jones has made a run further down the line, but he goes back to Szoboszlai. He's now on the halfway line with Ibrahima Konate. Spent 4 years at RB Leipzig before making the move to Liverpool for £36 million, which was a release clause. Has got Real Madrid sniffing around him though, with his contract expiring at the end of this season. Still 2-1 to Liverpool. Newcastle still with 10 men. Gordon sent off with a late challenge on Van Dijk before the break. It's now with the captain Virgil van Dijk. Just over 300 appearances now for him in the Premier League. 236 of them for Liverpool and the rest for Southampton. It's now with Alisson on the edge of the 18-yard box. Forwards down the middle for Jones. Touches it away from Miley. It's now to Van Dijk on the left-hand side. Chips it towards Gakpo. Tries to chest it for Ekitike. Goes to Guimaraes instead, who is pickpocketed fairly by Kerkez. Ekitike leads the charge. Can't work it back out wide to Kerkez. A Trippier intercepts and cleared forward by Burn towards Joe Linton, who battles with Gravenberch and wins the free kick. And Joe Linton's in pain. And this is the only issue with the way that Newcastle sometimes go about their business, because they're so aggressive and go into so many challenges full pelt. It can sometimes leave their players hurt. Just got there first, ahead of Gravenberch, caught at the feet. Just before he was trying to break away from the halfway line. There is Eddie Howe in conversation with his very trustworthy assistant Jason Tindall. Joe Linton's still down here. Clearly caught him in a nasty position, Ryan Gravenberch, who missed last week after having to serve a ban for his red card against Palace on the final day of the season, and then missed the Community Shield final due to the birth of his first child. So congratulations to Gravenberch. Another reason why McAllister's missing the game tonight, because his partner's given birth as well. Obviously had very merry Christmases over at the Gravenberch and McAllister households. As we've got 16 minutes of the 90 to play, plus any added on time. And Newcastle are well and truly in this game. Despite being a man down and only a goal down now. Yeah, Joe Linton's going to have to come off it. I'm wondering if it is pain from the contact, or has he just gassed out muscle-wise. Newcastle are going for this, by the way, but they've got nothing to lose. Man down, they weren't expected to get anything from the game, especially after going 2-0 down within about 30 seconds of the second half. Joe Linton in a lot of distress here. Did miss chunks of last season with a knee injury, injured February and then April to May. Not scored since late December against Manchester United. But we know that's not his game anymore. He's not relied upon for his goals. It's that work rate, and he's coming off hurt here. For Newcastle, they're going to be hoping this isn't long term, because he's an important part of that oiled midfield machine of Newcastle's, alongside Captain Guimaraes and Tonali as well. So Joe Linton off as one of the 3 substitutes. And Joe Linton is going to be replaced by one of their new summer signings for £43 million. He's their number 41, and it is Jacob Ramsey, 24 years of age. It's his debut competitively for the Magpies. Second change, we'll see Kieran Trippier to come off for Lewis Hall, who didn't come off the bench in the last game against Aston Villa, but he's going to get some minutes now. Newcastle's new number 3. Missed the back end of last season out with a foot injury, Lewis Hall, so just being eased back in. And the third and final change of this triple sub is Harvey Barnes, who is going to be coming off for William Asula. Was known as a striker, but has become more of a wide player under Eddie Howe at Newcastle. Asula, who had good cameos in the likes of the cup games, scored 2 last season, 1 in the league at home to Ipswich in the back end of April, and then 1 in the FA Cup to Bromley. Just started 3 games in all the last season. The Dane knocked out of the Euros in the under-21s in the quarter-final stage to France for Denmark as the ball goes in from the free kick. Header won by Van Dijk. And this time it's Cher who stayed down as Liverpool try and break. It's Jones. He's got 4 plays ahead of him and he skips beyond Lewis Miley. Can he get away from Asula? He can. Still with Jones trying to play it through, but it's Ramsey in almost a centre-back position to cover. And here is his first few Newcastle touches. And it's a clearance that goes up the pitch. And Cher stays down here. Alisson sitting with him, making sure he's okay. Not quite sure what happened. The medical staff are now on. Alisson takes a couple of steps back. We'd have to get a replay on that. Simon Hooper blowing his whistle, wanting a word with one of the players. Jason Tyndall having a word with the 4th official. And as he does that, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is just having a listening, the former Rangers manager, who's now part of the Liverpool backroom staff. Not quite sure what happened to Fabian Cher here. By the way, one of the signings of the century for Newcastle in terms of cost. £3 million from Deportivo La Coruña back in July 2018. He's made 231 appearances for Newcastle, now 232, including tonight. 21 goals, 33 years of age, retired from international duty after the Euros last year with Switzerland when they were knocked out in the quarter-final stage to England on penalties. As it does look like Liverpool are going to make a double change of their own. Chiesa and Elliott being readied. Fabian Cher with blood in the back of the head, so maybe a clash of heads with one of the Liverpool players as that long free kick went into the box. Let's have a look. Ball goes in. Cher's going for it. Eyes on the ball. And he's just caught with the hand or the arm of Van Dijk. Completely accidental. I don't even think Van Dijk knew Cher was coming. Just had his arms kind of like going up as you jump. You know, you use your arms as well. It's like, it could be a triple change. Or did I think Harvey Elliott was Conor Bradley? I think I've got them mixed up. Unless he changed it late. I could swear that was Harvey Elliott going to come on. Or is all 3? No, just the 2. So Conor Bradley is returning for Liverpool. That's a very nice sight for Liverpool supporters, especially with the recent injury for Jeremy Frimpong, who won't be back until after the international break. So Federico Chiesa will come on for Hugo Ekitike, who scored the 2nd goal of the night for Liverpool straight after the break. And Conor Bradley comes on for Florian Wirtz. Still not quite happening for the German in terms of goals. Still yet to score for Liverpool. Did assist in the Shield, in the Community Shield final for Ekitike. So that does mean that Szoboszlai will move into midfield. Conor Bradley will drop into right back. I feel like he did a decent shift at right back, Szoboszlai. At a place like St James's Park, when you're going to come up against wingers like Barnes and maybe Gordon when he was on the pitch, and Elanga as well, I feel like he did okay. We're back underway. Ramsey in the box left hand side tries to square it, deflects back towards him. It's Bradley's first bit of defending. Goes back to Hall. Miley into Byrne, lovely turn away from Salah, and fires it to the right to Livramento. Not many options in front of him. Does find Elanga. Back towards Livramento, avoids him towards Guimaraes. Goes in strong, he's on a booking, needs to be careful. Referee keeping the cards in the pockets. As Newcastle are going to make another change, and it's another debut. And unfortunately, Fabian Schär, who was caught in the head a few minutes ago, can't continue. So instead of Sven Botman coming on, it's going to be Malik Chow, their £30 million signing from AC Milan. Was on the bench for their game against Villa, didn't come on. Made 31 appearances last season in all competitions for AC Milan. Scored the one goal, which was at the Bernabeu, in a 3-1 win against Real Madrid in the early November in the Champions League phase. He's going to have to get adapted to the Premier League rather quickly, the number 12. As Liverpool have it with their left-back Kerkez, takes it beyond the halfway line. And then goes back into his own half to find Virgil van Dijk. No press from Newcastle because they don't want to tire themselves out too much. They've still got another probably 13 or 14 minutes left to play. Canate nicely into space for Szoboszlai on the far side. Slows it down. And finds the number 12. New number for him, Conor Bradley. Signed a new 4-year deal with Liverpool back in May of this year. Progressed through the ranks, spent time out on loan as well to progress his game at Bolton in the 22-23 season. And whilst he was on loan at Bolton, he won Player of the Year, Players Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year. So really good for his development that season. Guimaraes battling with Jones. And then Kerkez gets involved and eventually cleared away for Liverpool. Livramento kicks it off Gakpo. Throwing in a right-back position for Newcastle, who are running out of time, but the fight they've put in to keep this game alive has been rather impressive. You know, had a really unsuccessful pre-season. Results didn't go their way. Travelled a lot as well. During their pre-season, made their way to Singapore and, South Korea. As Liverpool use their throw-in to go backwards. It's now with Canate being closed down by Asula. Works it to Alisson. Big kick forward from the Brazilian. In behind the Newcastle defence. Chow's first touch isn't great. Straight to Chiesa, but Dan Burn slides in. Brilliant. Takes it away from the Italian. It goes straight to Nick Pope, who can use his hands. And here's Malik Chow. Goes into Livramento. Turn from Guimaraes to get away from Jones. Then feeds it back to Livramento. It's now Elanga, who's gone quiet in the second half. But he can work his magic to find Jacob Ramsey. One more left is Hall, and he uses him. Hall crosses deep, and no one's there. It's not bad build-up as well, but the final ball's not good enough. But for Newcastle, it does go for a throw-in for Liverpool, not a goal kick. And the throw-in is right next to that corner flag. And it will be taken by Milos Kerkez, who's stayed on the pitch this time. Subbed off after an hour against Bournemouth in the opening weekend. Throwing away, headed back forward by Chow, but then headed away by Gakpo, as far as Byrne, who heads it down the line. And then headed away by Kerkez. And then it goes over Byrne, and then headed forward by Chow. To Ramsey, who's got pressure from Szoboszlai. Finds Chow again, who turns away from the Hungarian. Very coolly done from the German. And Livramento back to Pope, who just gets rid first time. It's a big kick up towards Asula. Free header though in the end for Van Dijk. Header won by Livramento. Controlled by Asula. Keeps it away from Gakpo. 118 against another. And then loses out as his pass deflects off Gakpo to Jones, who falls over the challenge. Free kick for Liverpool. Well won there by Jones. Very cleverly done from the man who came through the Liverpool Academy. Curtis Jones joined at the age of 9 back in 2010. Became a father in October of last year, then engaged in the June of this year. 24 years of age now. Jones turns 25 at the back end of January. 4.5 minutes to go with the 90. And at this score, despite the fact they've got a man less, Newcastle are in this game. One set piece, one mistake can get them this equaliser. But can Liverpool hold on? Not beating them in the Premier League, Newcastle, since December 2015. Conor Bradley, though, breaks away in the Newcastle half. He's got Burn in front of him. Lays it off to Salah to his right. One-on-one with Hall. Bradley again turns straight into Guimaraes, who's put in a mammoth performance tonight. Not just with the goal, but that sheer work rate. And he gets Chiesa in the book. Guimaraes wanted to take the free kick quickly, but the referee was dishing out his yellow cards. Thrown right into the deep end in this game, Conor Bradley, returning from a hamstring injury. Only played 19 Premier League games last campaign, the Northern Irish international. First ever appearance against Newcastle as well. Just shows what Newcastle could have done if Anthony Gordon had stayed on the pitch. Nick Pope with the free kick. Kicks it forward towards the edge of the area. Burns chasing it. Glances it on. Asula's in! And prods it home! Newcastle have done it and they want a winner. They're not settling. They're grabbing the ball and they want to go again for one more. Off the bench, and he's made the impact. Just his second Premier League goal for Newcastle. They've both come here at St James's Park, but this one is huge. These high balls forward from Newcastle, of course, Liverpool challenges all game, and they've been punished again. Just a long ball from Pope, glanced on by Byrne. Asula got around the back of Gravenberg, beat Alisson to it on the 6-yard line. He actually missed Byrne and came off the back of Canate. And he just squeezed it under Alisson, who came out, but not quick enough. Delight for the Toon, despair for the Reds. And it's Newcastle 2, Liverpool 2. What a second half, with 10 men as well. Character. That is what you call this Liverpool second half performance. Full of character. And Arne Slot will be so frustrated. They came out in this second half playing against 10 men and scored within the first 30 seconds of Ekitike. But the Newcastle crowd have pulled their team through, gave them the energy to equalise like they have. Pope with another long ball into the box. Alisson's coming for it and catches it confidently. It's just crazy the way they scored, and they wanted to kick off again to try and get the winner. They clearly feel the momentum, these Newcastle players. Thrown out to Kirkes. Long ball from the Hungarian towards Chiesa. Beyond him, towards Salah. Important header from Hall. Livramento needs to deal with it. Lifts it forward towards Guimaraes, and it makes it to the Brazilian, who then puts it into the space for Elanga, who's got the pace on Kirkes. Elanga has it on the right wing. No black and white shirts there with him. As he crosses, and it's a corner for Newcastle. Asula was making a late run, but he's got his team a set piece here, Elanga, who looks completely exhausted. He has been rather quiet the second half, Anthony Elanga, but that doesn't mean he's not put his graft in. And the absolute scenes if Newcastle are to nick a winner as we're edging towards added on time. It's what they've profited from the entire game. Crosses and long balls and high balls into the box. We've ticked over the 90th minute. 11 minutes added on. Plenty of time for Newcastle to potentially grab a winner. We have had long stoppages with Fabian Schär and Sandro Tonali coming off with their separate injuries, and Joe Linton as well, which might cause a little bit of worry for Eddie Howe, but not at the moment. Elanga crosses in, it's a header won on the 6-yard line by Van Dijk. Very easily won by the Dutchman. And it's a throw-in for Newcastle, who have got 10 minutes left of added on time to try and grab a winner. We know they can throw it in long, and that's exactly what they're going to do here with Tino Livramento. You've got the assist for the first goal with the Guimaraes header. Livramento throws in, aiming for Burn. Header won though by Van Dijk. Helped on by Kerkez. And that'll be a throw-in again for Newcastle. More towards the final third. This is vintage Premier League football on a Monday night under the lights at St James's Park. Launched in, near post, helped on by Burn, punched by Alisson. Drops to Salah on the edge of the area, can't keep it away from Hall. Ramsey takes over, back out wide to Lewis Hall. Down the line for Guimaraes, tries to go inside once more, but it's cut out by Bradley. Corner for Newcastle. And I can't even imagine how loud it is now inside that stadium. Guimaraes cheerleading the supporters to make as much noise as possible. Liverpool have got changes to make, but they're not wanting to make them whilst defending a set piece. Eddie Howe watches anxiously on, which is rare because he's a man who doesn't like to show too much emotion. It's going to be an Elanga in-swinger. Near post. Header away from Chiesa, all as far as Ramsey, who lays it off. Miley with the shot. It's blocked off the back of Bradley. Out wide to Livramento, who just launches it back in. Burn wants to win it. Headed away, though, here to Salah. Hooks it on once more, but straight to Lewis Hall on the halfway line, and Newcastle can come again. I cannot believe they're the team with 10 men. Playing like a team possessed. Miley lifts it out towards Burn in the box. It's well away from him and Kanate. And it's going to be a throw-in for Liverpool. Or is it a foul maybe on Kanate? Too much holding and grabbing from Burn. Not quite sure. No, it is a throw-in towards the corner flag as well. So it's a good chance for Newcastle to win the ball back high up in the Liverpool half. Jones goes back to Kerkez, who took the throw-in, and he kicks it as far as possible. And it's Dan Burn to control it with ease. Goes to his right to Chow. Forward once more to Livramento, then down the line first time to Asula, who will beat Van Dijk to it. On the right-hand side, in the final third. He's got bodies getting up there with him. He lays it off to Livramento. Deflects here to Guimaraes. Back through into the path of Livramento. Crosses low. Deflects off Kerkez. Another corner for Newcastle on the near side. I think Elanga is looking for an in-swinger, a left-footed to take here, but I don't think they've got one. Dan Burn's left-footed, but of course he's going to be going into the box. Potentially Lewis Hall, who's left-footed, but no, they're going to leave it for an out-swinger from Elanga. The game ended 3-3 last season between these two at St James's Park. Can't see us getting another draw here. If anything, we might get a Newcastle winner. Elanga, right arm raised. but then has to delay the taking of it because Simon Hooper's having a chat here with Gakpo and Bradley, who have got the job of trying to stop Dan Burn getting to this ball. Alanga takes it. Header won again by Van Dijk. It's up in the air though in the area. Kirkes goes for it, wins it, but he's fouled by Asula, the one who scored the equaliser for Newcastle United. And it's going to be a free kick for Liverpool. Just less than 6 minutes of added on time to play. And we're going to get the double change now for Liverpool. First one is going to see Curtis Jones replaced by Harvey Elliott, who's making his 149th Liverpool appearance. First Premier League minutes of the season. And Gakpo is going to be coming off for the 16-year-old Rio Ngamoa. Turned 17 on the 29th of August. Came through at Chelsea, a very skillful player. He had a good pre-season, scored in one of the pre-season games against Bilbao, also scored against Yokohama and Stoke as well. And Ngamoa is one to watch for sure. Brought in last summer from Chelsea for £2 million, and he makes his Premier League debut. And here he is, Ngamoa, with Rio on his back of his shirt. Try to work across, it goes in low, cleared by Chow. What a moment though for Rio Ngamoa. Has been on the bench for the first 2 games of the season, but didn't get any minutes. He's an England under-17 international. Scored twice for them, a brace against Northern Ireland in a 5-0 win back in March of this year. As it could be now Liverpool's turn to have a go at trying to get the winner. It's Alisson, midway side his own half. Goes to his left to Van Dijk. Forward to Szoboszlai in the centre circle. Playing the ball to his right to Konate. Forward to Harvey Elliott, the substitute. Lifts it in behind towards Salah. Header won by Hall, not once but twice. And then needs to try and clear if he can. Towards the corner flag, he's shielding the ball away from Salah. Who will get the last touch? It's the Egyptian. Goal kick, well won by the substitute Lewis Hall, who kind of took over from Trippier. Livramento went right back, Hall left back. But like I say, he picked up a foot injury in March of this year. His last appearance in the Premier League was against Liverpool away from home in that 2-0 defeat back on the 26th of February. So he's a welcome return. He missed the League Cup final, Lewis Hall, with that injury. He is born and bred a Newcastle supporter, the number 3. Pope takes the goal kick. We've got 3 minutes left to play. Bradley wins the header. Cleared back forward by Hall. It's a high one up towards Asula. Battling with Konate, who wins the first header, then volleyed on by Elliott. Header won though by Byrne. Guimaraes battling. Drops to Miley. Dinks it over the top towards Asula, who does pull down Bradley. That'd be a free kick for the away side. Gravenberch works it to the left here to Kirkes on the halfway line. Finds Ngamoa inside here to Gravenberch. Back to Van Dijk, then to his right to Konate. Harvey Elliott, everything to his left. Midway inside the Newcastle half. Has to go back though to Konate. And to Elliott once more, being closed down by Ramsey. Down the line to Salah, tackled by Hall. Miley tries to go back towards Pope and it does reach him. Left-footed clearance. Chiesa nearly cut it out. Alisson. Less than 2 minutes to play. Kirkes at left back. Goes across to Van Dijk. It's now with Konate. Takes it into the Newcastle half. Furthest wide right here is Bradley. But he goes back into Konate again. It's patient from Liverpool. Gravenberch does get the pass out wide to Bradley. Now Chiesa, Salah, first time ball, Szoboszlai, dummies it. Ngoma, what a goal! Ngoma wins it right at the death. The 16-year-old has done it. I cannot believe it. Their backs could not be more against the ropes. But the 16-year-old delivers the knockout punch in the 100th minute of the match. Ngoma with his first competitive Liverpool goal. Oh, it's so well played. The build-up is so smooth. That dummy from Szoboszlai, the first time shot from Ngoma, wraps it into the top right corner. Again, Nick Pope completely flat-footed. Ball across from Salah, the dummy which takes Livramento out of the game. And on his own, first time, Ngoma, what a goal that is. Pointing to those Liverpool supporters high up in the sky. Vintage Premier League. What a moment. Absolute devastation and heartbreak for these Newcastle supporters, who will find it so hard to believe they're going to walk away with absolutely nothing. And as we kick off once more, Burns shoves, I think, Chiesa to the ground. But it's a Newcastle free kick because there was contact on Burn before he did that big shove. Ngoma. What a goal. What a moment. We could still have more drama. Pope's going up for it. Newcastle free kick on the left-hand side. One from kick-off by Dan Burn. Now this would top everything off. We had a 3-3 scoreline at this place last season with a very late equaliser from Newcastle from Fabian Schär. Not as late as this. Guimaraes sends it in. Alisson wants it. Last touch off a Liverpool player. It's a corner. So Nick Pope will stay up. They've got two 6'6" giants to aim for with Nick Pope and Dan Burn. Lewis Hall will swing this in left-footed in towards the goal. Endo's come on for Liverpool during the whole melee of the winner, which could be the winner. It might not be the winner. We could have an equaliser. They are surrounding the 6-yard box. Hall delivers it in. Header won by Van Dijk. Out of the box it goes here to Elanga. We still play. Guimaraes can't keep it in. That's such a poor ball from Anthony Elanga. And that will probably finish the game. And it's kicking off again. Guimaraes and Gravenberch are the two giving out verbals. $103.5 minutes played, and we'll probably get the full-time whistle very shortly. Massive throw-in from Connor Bradley, and the referee blows for full-time. And despite having the 11 men, it feels like Liverpool are the ones who have robbed this game away from Newcastle. The way they just played with 10 men can only be admired. And the fact they're walking away with nothing is devastating. And I'm nothing to do with Newcastle. I've got no association at all, but I can feel the pain. But then the pure elation on the other side for Liverpool with their 16-year-old Rio Ngoma on his first ever Premier League appearance off the bench late, wins it with a really, smooth attack. Dan Burns now giving it out. Dan Burns not happy. Emotions are high, obviously, from both. So it's the first defeat of the season for Newcastle. Liverpool are 2 wins from 2. They can certainly score, but they can't defend this Liverpool side. Struggled with the high balls tonight, where 2 of the Newcastle goals came from. Rio on the back of his shirt, Rio Ngamoa, turning 17 on Friday, and what an early birthday present that is for the Liverpool attacker. They've won it late here before. A certain Darwin Núñez did that a couple of seasons ago at St James's Park when it was Liverpool, the team who were down to 10 men. That was the time when Virgil van Dijk was sent off at this ground. What a moment, what a game. And that's why we love the Premier League. Great commentary, mate. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the live commentary. If you did, make sure you do like and subscribe. I'm not sure which game will be my next commentary, but it will be some point next week. I'm trying to do one a week, which I've done so far. And like I said, I'm not quite sure which game will be the next one, but there will be one coming up. But that is just... You don't get much better than that. With 10 men, Newcastle have battled so hard to get back level at 2-2 and then to lose it so late on in the 100th minute through a 16-year-old Rio Ngamoa. It's what fairy tales are made of. As here at St James's Park, it was Liverpool who were on the back foot for the first half an hour, but then took a shock lead through Gravenberch from 25 yards out to help their matter in terms of trying to win the game. Anthony Gordon got sent off in the 3rd minute of added on time after a late challenge on Virgil van Dijk. And then about 30 seconds into the second half, it was Hugo Ekitike to get a goal, also nicked off the post into the bottom left corner. But that somehow made things harder for them. They were 2 up, a man up, but it was Newcastle who looked the much better side for the rest of the game. Guimaraes got the first goal back with just over half an hour to play across from Livramento. A header 1 on Kirkes, and past Alisson it went to make it 2-1. And then the dream became a reality. William Asula, with 2 minutes of the 90 to play, got the equaliser. Long ball by Pope. Came off the back of Canate. Asula beat Alisson to it. Stuck it under the Brazilian. And it looked like it had earned Newcastle a very well-deserved point. But that wasn't to be. One last well-worked attack from Liverpool completely ripped apart Newcastle and their 10 men. It was Salah with the final ball across the box. It was dummied by Szoboszlai, which left Ngamoa all on his own. And for 16 years old, he dealt with that pressure like it was an everyday occurrence for him. Right-footed, top right corner, past Pope, thank you very much. And Liverpool walk away with all 3 points, as here at St James's Park it finishes Newcastle 2, Liverpool 3.